Right now, it's Caleb Saylor's Multimedia Journalist, SuperTalk Mississippi News.
What's going on, Gerard?
What's up there, Big Caleb? Tell us about it, man. It appears that Mississippi has a connection to this horrific air crash that just occurred a couple of days ago up in the nation's capital. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Gerard. Andrew Eves, who is from Noxubee County here in East Mississippi, is confirmed to be one of the pilots, Army pilots, that was flying the Black Hawk that collided with the American Airliners plane that on Wednesday night in D.C., just over the Potomac River. And very, very sad situation. Andrew Eves is his name. He's from Mississippi. His wife posted on Facebook, and I will make a side note here, Gerard. His wife posted, I've seen a lot of conspiracies about the crash. I'm not going to comment or interject anything of my thoughts on that, but his wife did say, please refrain from any kind of negative comments right now. I mean, it's so unnecessary, Gerard, that, before people's bodies could be pulled out of the water, people were already drawing conclusions, blaming people or things, or coming up with their reasonings as to why this happened, based on conspiracies, not facts. And I think while, authorities investigate what happened, and while we, seek answers, we do want to know what caused this. It's best to refrain from outlandish comments right now. And I completely respect Mrs. Eves' saying of that in her post. She left a heartfelt post about her husband on Facebook, and more information there can be found at supertalk.fm. But yeah, so we know that there were 67 people involved in this crash. The airliner was carrying 60 passengers, and along with the staff, and then no survivors. Just tragic all around, Gerard.
Very sad, no doubt about it. We appreciate his service to our country, and in the line of duty here, lost his life out on a training mission. Really incredible. So, all right, what about some of these schools that are saying they're shutting down because they've just got an extraordinary amount of students and teachers and administrators with the flu?
So West Union Attendance Center was the first to report this. They had 200 students come down with this illness. Now, they're not specifying what the illness is. I've done some digging trying to figure out. I don't know what the illness is. Maybe I can reach out to some more parents I know in certain areas of the state, but I know that West Union is closed for the remainder of the week, which would be today, and then a Holka Attendance Center, and then locally here in the Jackson area where our headquarters studios is, where I live, St. Andrews Episcopal School has closed down both of its campuses. So we have a St. Andrews tie to. My news director, JT, went there. But, there's an illness. Kids are getting sick left and right, so these schools are taking precaution. Now, the good news is all of them are expected to open back up on Monday. But, yeah, it's kind of one of those crazy things. How often do you see, a bunch of schools closing down for a sickness in Mississippi? But it's that time of year, though. We've had cold weather. The weather's changing, and, this is just the time where you have a lot of flu and stomach bug and outbreaks.
Yeah, really something. Hopefully we get that back to a normal situation.
We haven't heard any no deaths, thankfully, but no serious violent injuries or anything from this illness, too. It's just kids are sick. There's a lot of them. It's spreading. Let's just not go to class for the remainder of the week. We'll pick things back up on Monday.
Yeah. All right, so the State of the State address was delivered by our governor, Tate Reeves, a couple of days ago. What were kind of the main talking points in that address? So
the governor has hammered income tax elimination at the state level, for years now, and that did not stop on Wednesday night when he delivered his State of the State address. He said that was the single most important thing that the legislature could do for Mississippians, right? Cutting the income tax, what he calls a tax on work. And he also called for more investments into energy in Mississippi's energy sector, saying we could be a beacon, a front runner in energy production and investment in the country. He also called on, while he touted schools like our fourth grade reading records being, high, the best in the nation, he did say that some of the standards by which we grade schools needs to change. Instead of, you have a A or B rated school district where kids aren't reading at the grade level that they're in. He said that needs to be reformed, and it may not be an easy thing to do, but it needs to happen. And he kind of segued that into kind of promoting school choice to an extent. And I know, Gerard, you've talked about school choice extensively. Our lawmakers have talked about it extensively. House Speaker Jason White has he opened up the avenue for school choice to become a reality in Mississippi with the new public school funding formula last year. And I think that a lot of Republicans in the legislature, and I know the governor is a front runner in parroting this, are going to push for school choice. Now, on the other side of things, we had Democratic Senator David Blunt, who is from the Jackson area, gave the response to the governor, and he said that Medicaid expansion needs to happen. Now, the governor said it was wise that Mississippi did not pass Medicaid expansion last year. Now that we have a new administration at the federal level, we don't know what the Trump administration's Medicaid policy is going to be. And so he said that the governor said that if states passed that did pass Medicaid expansion could end up paying a lot more money than they bargained for if the Trump administration changes its policies. Now, Senator Blunt, on the other hand, said, no, we need to do this in Mississippi. This is of utmost priority. This will help hundreds of thousands of Mississippians in the coverage gap. This would help hospitals that are not getting compensated for the care that they provide. And so he really hammered Medicaid expansion as the focal talking point. But he also said that eliminating the income tax will be irresponsible, and said that Republican leaders have not really provided a means of how they would fund government, operations if the income tax is completely eliminated, since it is 1/3 of the revenue we accrue at the state level. And he also rejected school choice, Senator Blunt did. He said that, this would open up Pandora's box. He kind of jokingly said a high school football transfer portal, but I think his issues lie more at the education level. You could leave a lot of districts behind, per se, and this is his opinion, that if you allow kids to transfer from one district to another. And so, completely opposing viewpoints from the governor and the Democratic lawmaker. But I know Senator Blunt said he touted the governor and Republicans for passing a teacher pay raise and urged them, instead of focusing on income tax, to install another teacher pay raise and put more money into infrastructure rather than just kind of, in his words, haphazardly cutting taxes.
Yeah, he definitely wants to spend more money. He made that clear when we had him on the program a couple of weeks ago. He says we ought to spend the entire 98% of what we take in revenue and of course, dedicate the remaining 2% to the rainy day fund, but spend it all is where he stands.
And so if you eliminate the income tax, and if you eliminate the or phase down the grocery tax, that leaves you a lot less money to spend. And so that definitely fell in line with the logic he was espousing there. But he did, adamantly said it would be irresponsible to completely eliminate the income tax. Now, the caveat there is House Bill 1, which the governor touted and praised, Speaker Jason White and Representative Trey Lamar for their efforts. It wouldn't eliminate the income tax overnight. As we know, Gerard, it would be a little over 12 years before we see that, eliminated. And so there would be time and plenty of years for the government to kind of figure out how they would balance the budget or maintain the budget. But understandably so, though, it would be a concern to see, a third of the state's revenue just eliminated, gone. And how do you work with that? And so lawmakers will have a lot to discuss. Obviously, House Bill 1 is not going to be passed and enacted as is. The Senate's going to introduce its tax bill, and we're still awaiting that. Yep,
that's what it looks like. All right, so what else you got for us? An Ole Miss linebacker involved in an arrest.
Kari Coleman, a linebacker from Ole Miss, he transferred to Oxford from TCU in 2022. But he's been on the team for 3 years, and he played in every game last year. He was mainly, I wouldn't say a backup, but he was a rotational guy. He didn't start for the most part. Ole Miss had really good linebackers last year. Well, Kari Coleman allegedly got a little crazy the day of the Gator Bowl, and he's reported to have exposed himself to hotel staff at a hotel right south of the Jacksonville area the day the Rebels played Duke in the Gator Bowl. He was arrested yesterday after police conducted their investigation, and he'll be extradited back to Florida.
Gotcha. All right. Caleb Sailors, multimedia journalist, SuperTalk Mississippi News, has been our guest, providing an excellent roundup of all the news from across the state of Mississippi. Appreciate it, Caleb.
Thanks, Gerard.